concern over a railroad crossing, and drones, and jobs, and water usage at a new power plant. These were all items discussed during the caucus session at the August 3rd Lordstown Council meeting. And here we go.
The water sales to the power plant, I guess there's been a lot of people with concerns about is Lordstown not going to be involved in this water sales? In this water sales to the power plant, I mean, I know the mayor, even at that siting board hearing, was excited and stuff. Well, Warren has all the right to be excited because of the volume of water being sold, but Lordstown still, it's going to be handled the same way GM is. It's going to be handled the same way Metalco is. Any business that's on the Warren system, Lordstown still gets money for the water sales. We actually sell the water to the power plant, and Warren supplies it. So Warren's excited because of the volume of water, the same as Niles is, because Lordstown's there's going to be a lot of water sales there, but Lordstown is involved in the Warren water going to that power plant. I just wanted to clarify that. Meander District's excited, Niles is excited, and Warren's excited because I don't know if people will realize the volume of water, but just take that great big General Motors Corporation over there, and this is just going to dwarf it. The volume of water that this plant's going to use.
General Motors gets approximately 700,000 to 800,000 gallons a day, and this plant on an extremely hot day like we've had could be pushing 5.5 million gallons a day. So, and all the water sales which take place in the village of Lordstown go through the Lordstown village, no matter who we purchase it from. Now, we are kind of blessed. We're tied into the Warren system, we're tied into the Nile system, we're also tied into Newton Falls, but usually, if anything, we'd be shoveling it that way rather than coming this way. But, you see everybody out west, and they're talking about they're parched, they have no water. I mean, that's one thing this area does have, is a lot of water.
Both Warren and Niles, this is not going to be anywhere near maxing out their capacity.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the fact, will the residents not have enough water? This is nowhere near their capacity because of all the businesses, the steel mills and everything that have shut down over the years. They're excited to get this back, and it's still a small part of the capacity that both of these water facilities have.
Mayor Hill says that he was asked by a Stark County fireman if they have a policy about using drones.
But to have drones flying over your house and everything, I kind of have a problem with that. I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on it, either not. That
the FAA is working on some refining regulations for them. I know that.
Well, some kid in Connecticut put a gun
Yes.
on the drones far enough.
That he owned the drone.
So, this, due to changing times, we can't just sit back and rest on our laurels. We're going to have to be a little bit, stay on top of this, and if, resident calls any one of us, I'm sure we're all going to, at least bring it up for a discussion.
Railroad crossing concerns brings a response from Lordstown solicitor.
Okay, I have a couple things I'd like to bring up. I talked with the solicitor, and we've had some issues with, and it's been ongoing for years. And our CCX crossings at Salt Springs and Lintz Road. And I've given Paul a call today because this is one thing which, we've all been told it's out of our jurisdiction. One of these days we may be put in a pretty tight spot because of an ambulance call or a fire call or something like that. I know, Bill, you can see that from your house down there. Paul, if you'd like to, just give us a quick synopsis of what we discussed.
Okay. The bottom line is that in 2010 we were asked the same question. In fact, March 8th of 2010, we were asked to write an opinion and give advice on the enforceability of Lordstown's blocked crossing ordinance. And that ordinance was attempted to be enforced because a train was stopped in the crossing, and I think we even cited some employees of the train, one of whom was Bob Hagan,
Yeah,
who was
I remember that.
a state rep at the time. And anyway, we do not have jurisdiction. The Ohio Revised Code and applicable federal laws gives jurisdiction to the Federal Railroad Administration, and we just don't have jurisdiction there. Now, at the end of it, I'm just going to read the end of this memo, and each of you should have received a copy today. We sent a copy to Bill, and you can ask him. It says, "We did not find any regulatory avenues through which Lordstown may plead their case. However, our research did reveal several publications by federal agencies that address the specific concerns that Lordstown has about block crossings." And there's a 7-page, how many pages?
It was 63 pages.
63 pages on the email that we sent you off of the federal website. So, I mean, if you really want to get into the nitty-gritty of this thing, you could look at that. They all suggest that the local community talk with the railroad to try to resolve the situation. The Federal Railroad Administration published a fact sheet in 2008 entitled "Trains Blocking Highway Rail Grade Crossings" that provides suggestions for operational changes that the railroad may make to resolve the issue, as well as some mitigation strategies for chronic grade crossing blockages. In September of 2006, the Federal Rail Administration issued a report entitled "Impact of Blocked Crossings on Emergency Response Services." And our concern was that you couldn't get emergency response vehicles from one side of the village to the other if there was a train on the roadway where you would cross. It details several ways to handle Lordstown's problems. And if you focus in on pages 15 to 23 of the attachment, it will address those questions. So our recommendation is that either the Safety Committee or the entire council have the mayor invite someone from CSX. And it may not be someone local. You may have to go to a regional person that has more authority. And then do your homework in advance. So we could all do the homework in advance. I'd ask the police chief or the street superintendent to come up with a list, say in the last 2 years, how often this has occurred, what the nature of the blockage was, how long in duration it was if you have those records. And then meet with this person and say, this is a health and safety issue in our village. And we could also produce copies of that report. If they don't have it, they probably do, and just remind them of that. But short of that, if they are unresponsive, then I guess you could just try to embarrass them. Call a press conference the next time there's a train blocking a crossing, and have the police chief there and the fire chief and say, you know, these people on the other side of the tracks, if someone had a heart attack or something, we couldn't reach them. And you bring the cameras rolling, and you probably will get some response. The other thing is, it's an election season, and you could get some of these people who always show up at election, Republicans and Democrats, and show them the crossing. But we have no right of action as a village, nor does an individual citizen. This jurisdiction is preempted at the federal level.
Berlin Township is going to save Berlin residents money this winter on gas.
Dominion East Ohio sent notification that we can apply for new rates. Jody?
Currently, I believe we're paying $3.97 per MCF for our gas. We had the opportunity to go and jump into a 6-month fixed plan. The rate right now was $3.57 in July. It has stayed the same. I'm thinking with cooler weather coming in September that maybe it'd be good to go ahead and jump on the bandwagon. Last year, over the winter months, we paid $4.97 per MCF. which is a significant savings because the variable rate is about $6 plus per MCF. So we are saving a lot of money by going with this plan with
And at Poland's Tuesday Village Council meeting, the topic continues of what to do about the ash trees.
And one more point about harvesting the trees. I am certain that if you went in to harvest all the trees, as has been proposed, all the dead trees, marketable dead trees, that it's going to be devastating to that forest. You don't take... Pardon? We're not going to do that. Okay. Because that's as Joe pointed out, that's at least 6% of the forest and probably more, and you're going to drag these 3 or 4 ton logs through the forest, through the brush and the wildlife and everything that's there, and you're going to drag them to a major road. There's only a couple major roads that you go to. It'd be devastating. Edward's question, please.
Well, actually, we're always teetering on this. We don't really want to talk about the money. Money is the bottom line, hard fact, that the village doesn't have the money to take care of that like it's a park.
It shouldn't be taken care of as a park. And I would argue strongly that if it were taken care of as a forest, the maintenance costs would go down. As I think you mentioned earlier, that if it were left by itself and nobody went there, there would be no maintenance costs. The forest maintains itself. The only energy input to it is solar energy. The energy flows through it and the nutrient cycle within it. It's only because we put trails in there and we want to walk around in it that there's a cost. And that cost could be minimal if we minimize our maintenance.
We have always had problems. And monetarily, when they sold 680, we were supposed to get $60,000, or half of that was supposed to get $30,000. We never did. So we've been just running. We've been working well, I think, with the village. When the fire department wanted to do a mock run with the ambulances, you know, take nap staff and say, oh, somebody just fell on Gutnick Trail, we said, that's a great idea. So I think we work well with the village. I don't think we're trying to cause any problems. But the problem right now are the ash trees. And my concern is for people. But then you also have to think about things. When we were back there on Friday, there were several big ash trees right beside the sycamore, which is like a sacred tree back there. And if it fell, it'll probably take part of the sycamore down, you know, the big hollow tree. So it's not just, it is people, but it's also maybe the Mossy Bridge, the pavilions, the sycamore tree. Those would be my concerns.
And Kevin Woolweaver was sworn in as Poland Village's newest policeman.
I, Kevin Woolweaver, do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I, Kevin Woolweaver, do hereby swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
The Constitution of the State of Ohio.
the Constitution of the State of Ohio,
And the Constitution and ordinances of the Village of Poland.
and the Constitution and ordinances of the Village of Poland,
Mahoning County.
Mahoning County,
And that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge
and that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially discharge
the duties of patrolman
the duties of
of
patrolman
the Village of Poland
of the Village of Poland
during my continuance as a patrolman of the Village of Poland.
during my continuance as a patrolman of the Village of Poland.
Congratulations.
Thanks, sir.